this recording, we're going to go over how to render our scene with some light and some shadows. So one of the first things you want to do is go ahead and create a camera. And so we're in modeling, which is probably where you have been. It doesn't matter for getting camera, you could be rendering also, but just starting off where you guys are at. So we're going to hit camera, and it's going to be camera 2 in this scene. All right, so if we hit W, you can see it's between the feet of this character. And so we actually want to, we have it selected, so it's always good to have the outliner out. If you don't have it, go to Windows and show outliner. So what we want to do is see through that perspective. So we go up here to panels, perspective, and we're going to do camera 2. All right, so you can see the 2 feet are kind of present here. And I'm just going to do a real quick pass of this. We have 24 frames. I'm going to go ahead and go up to, let's do 40. All right, so a lot of you guys probably have a lot more than that, probably have 200 to 300 to 400. So when you have the camera selected, now if you have something like this or whatever selected, you cannot keyframe it. But if you have the camera selected, you can keyframe it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit S. You can see the red hash here. And if I zoom in and I hit S, it's going to keyframe it. So in just a second, we'll show you what that looks like. So hit S. So this is a really fast keyframe. It's all happening in basically less than a second. But if I hit play, we can keyframe it. Now you don't have to do any of this at all, but it's good to go ahead and create cameras and position them. Some of you guys are doing jump shots, but I would do a slow pan. I think it kind of helps with your dialogue. But be minimal, don't do what I just did. So also, just for this video, I'm just going to animate the head here just moving. All right, just so that I know it's animated. I'm going to just do another really quick movement here. Let's see. All right, so that way when I render it, I know my character is moving. All right, so if we go up to here, to this little icon here, this is our rendering. So go ahead and click on that, and you'll see that it is solid black. Also, we're just going to go briefly through this Maya and Maya hardware and Arnold. You should have Arnold on your computer. I'm doing Maya 2022, Maya 2024 did not bring up Arnold. So if you've downloaded it, it should be there. You can go to Window Settings and pull up Arnold on your plugin manager, but it wasn't showing up on mine at all. So I think in the lab it does show up. You may have to do a little bit of finagling to get this up and running. All right, so it is showing up black. The reason is because there's no light in the scene. All right, so I'm going to kind of make this smaller. All right, again, there's a million ways to do this, and I'm keeping it very, very simple because some of you have not rendered yet, and it is a little bit of a challenge the first time you do it. There's a lot of things that you got to check off. All right, we are going to go ahead and go to rendering. All right, so again, you can spend your whole lifetime just working within rendering, compositing, and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and go File and create some lights and create, oops, sorry, not File, create lights. And we're not going to do ambient, we're going to do directional light. All right, we hit W, pull this out, and I'm also going to hit R to kind of scale it up. Now this doesn't affect the intensity of the light or anything, it just allows me to see where this light is heading and the direction of it. So for this, just for this project, you can just have a 1-point light. You can also do a 2-point light system, but this is fine for now. Again, in more advanced, you could add another kind of a bounce light. There's also different types of lights. You saw there's like 3 or 4 different types in there also. All right, so we have it selected. And if I go in here and I hit this little icon here, you can see we have a little bit of light. So it's very weak, and also we have a really harsh shadow. So we want to start working on that. I want to show you where those attributes are. It's an attribute editor. And so really easily, you can just go up here, go up on the slider, and there's a million things that you can change on this. So now it's getting a little bit hotter. I'm going to back off of that. So it's a hot light, just meaning it's too bright. All right. It doesn't have to be special. We're more focusing on animation versus the rendering. This is not a rendering demo reel. So we're just going to keep it simple. So within the light, you want a more yellow light or whatever light, you can do that. So the shadow is really, really dark, black. I would back off on that. And also we want the shadow to kind of fall apart. It's really sharp even all the way to the end. All right, so we're going to go to shadow raise, I think. I'm going to ramp this up, and I always get this wrong. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cross my fingers, and I do it wrong every time. All right, so it's good to watch me do it wrong. We're going to go down here to Arnold, and it's called angle. All right, and let's keep going down. We're looking for something called angle. Let's go ahead. Let's use an angle. All right, it says color temperature, but this is part of Arnold. So I ramp up the angle here, and let's test it out. All right, cool. I got the right one. All right, so it is not raise. I'm going to dial that back down. And we have angle. All right, it used to be called something else, and mental ray, and all kinds of other render engines that used to be part of Maya, no longer. All right, so I'm going to hit, again, dialing back the shadow rays. All right, that looks pretty good. All right. It's not too hot. We've got some decent shadow. It's not too dark. We don't want it completely black. All right, so the next thing what we need to do is go to our render settings and get that set up for rendering frame by frame. All right, so I think it's this guy right here. It's not that one. It looks like gears I can't see with my glasses. All right, so we're going to go to render settings. All right, it should be up here. You can also go to render and go to render settings too if you can't find an icon. All right, so just make sure you have Arnold on. One of the most important things is the path. All right, I can't emphasize this more than 10 times. The path. All right, ears maybe going user default, and it's going to get buried. And it's sometimes challenging to find this. So I'm just going to show you really quickly how to change this directory. And so we got here our source images. All right, those are the images that it's going to kick out. Not source images, but images. So we're going to go to the images folder, click on that, and we're going to go desktop, and we're going to go to Cartoon Boy. And I'm going to make a new folder called images or render. Let's do render. All right, so it's nice and easy. All right, so that is my directory now. So user Thomas. Let's hit new. All right, I think it's going and hit accept. All right, so all right, cool. So you have to accept. I did not do that the first time. That's good that you're watching me make my mistakes in front of you. Desktop, cartoon, and render. All right, if you don't do that, it's going to be a hard time finding this. All right, so let's keep going. So this is an EXR. This is great in compositing. You can, basically it breaks into layers that you can go each layer by layer to work on brightness, contrast, and different passes on the render. So we don't want that because it'll take forever to render. Also, we're just going to do a PNG. This will just be a flat plate or a image, a sequence of them. And format, I'm not sure what that is. We'll just leave as is. But we do want to go name dot hashtag dot extension. All right, and we're going to go to 1 through 40. All right, you guys will do 1 through 400 or whatever. All right, so the reason why we do this frame by frame is it used to be you could do this not a PNG but MOV. It looks like they've taken that off completely. So MOV, if it crashed halfway through, it would corrupt the whole QuickTime or movie file. So if this crashes, you can pick up where it left off. So if it crashed off at 21, you can go back to 20 and then re-render. All right, so we do want to render through our camera that we made, camera 2, not camera 1. That's very important. And also we want our size. So image size, there's all these 320 to 240, that's really, really small. But we want to do HD 1080. Now you can go up the ladder on this. This is very small. This is probably YouTube size. This is not, I think that's barely even, that's 1K. It's not even 2K, 4K, or 8K, so it's very small. But for your demo reel, that's fine. All right, so we have everything set up. We have our lighting that we've touched in the background. We did our test rendering right here, and we have our path is indicated, and now we're ready to render. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to look down here. This kind of tells us what's going on in the bottom right cube. So it's important that you learn to see that if it's rendering or not. So we're going to do batch render is typically what it would have done in the past, but we're going to do a render sequence is basically what we're doing. All right, so we have camera 2 selected, alternative thing, don't worry about that. So we're going to go ahead, render sequence and close. All right, I'll go ahead and hit that. All right, so it's going to be rendering up here. I don't know why it's going to do that. So this has changed a little bit since a year ago. All right, so we can see down here it's doing the second render. So sometimes this on the bottom right will freeze and it will turn into to stay at 1_3, but it won't since we're recording. Probably not. But you can walk away, go take a break. This will take a long time, especially 200, 300. But utilize the class time to do this, all right? This is the only one that I really care about, that you guys have a really good animation, and you do want now and then have a good rendering or decent rendering. This is, I would not say superior, because we didn't do several lights, and we did not do skin shaders and stuff like that. All right, so I want to stop with this recording. I'm going to do one more to show you what to do with the image sequence in After Effects. Oh, and one other thing just make sure, let's see, well, I won't show you here, but just make sure your frames rate is what you had set at the beginning, which is 29.97 or whatever. Make sure that is the outgoing frame rate also. All right, we'll stop here. I'll make another one in just a second after the rendering and show you After Effects.